welcome back to Bet Me a Date. Today I'm going to be speaking with Kate Benson, who is a world-renowned fashion photographer. She's worked with some huge brands, and we're going to be speaking about how to take a stunning dating profile photo. Subscribe to our channel for more information on different dating challenges that can be really tough to overcome. I'm Dr. Aviva Gaskill. I'm a clinical psychologist who's helped dozens of patients overcome dating challenges, but I can't do this work alone. I do it with the help of experts like Kate Benson, who's an incredible photographer and a fellow RISD grad.
Hooray! We're miracle workers. I was just telling PJ the difference between like millennials and zennials, and I was like, I can't do this stuff. This is the problem.
I know. The sad truth is I'm like, I gave up on apps like forever ago. I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna, and here it is biting me in the butt.
Me too. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's really helpful because we're trying to help people date better, and you happen to be a world famous fashion photographer and everything. I just wanted to thank you for joining us. I know you're going to be talking with us about how to take an amazing dating profile picture today. Can you just tell us a little bit about you and your background? And I might elaborate a little bit if you don't mind.
Yeah, I get
fellow
some,
RISD grad.
I do get some slack for my modesty when I talk about myself. Because I'm like, just a photographer. I'm just a person that takes pictures, But yeah, I guess business background. I started my business in Miami in 2006 after interning and assisting, doing all that dance after we graduated. And then I set up my business, fortunately, so that I could work on a more national and international scale, which is great. So that way, when I've moved quite a few times, so a lot of people get stuck in the same place when they do something for work, and I didn't ever want that. So it just kind of was like, go big or go home.
Yeah.
So I had to get big enough that I could move anywhere.
And you really did. I mean, you're working with like Adidas and Donald Pliner and Cosabella and like all these huge brands. I mean, it's been really amazing. And it's honestly it's just been amazing to see you grow and see your work grow. So thank you for joining us. At the end, I'm going to sort of let you sort of talk about where people can find you and all of that good stuff. So thanks everyone so much for joining us. Thanks Abby and Sharon. It's so good to see you all. Okay, so Kate, can you tell us what are some of the basics in a great dating profile photo? Like what do you see in terms of what you think is really good there?
So I think the most important thing with any type of photo online is sales. In dating, it's sales of you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, each time you put a photo online, you have to think about how does this represent the product that I'm selling? So I do think very detached, by the way, in case you can't tell.
Well, but maybe that helps, right? To detach yourself a little bit.
Yeah. And certainly I would always recommend getting other eyes on whatever you do too, because external people are not going to look at you the way you look at you. But so when you're doing that, your first main kind of profile photo, and depending, I don't know if there's usually there's a collection of photos you can put up. So I would be very calculated and recommend people be very calculated in making sure each photo represents something different about them to sell the product, to show more about themselves. So each photo serves a different purpose. You don't necessarily need every photo to be the most stunning photo of you, because you want to utilize anytime you're on an online platform, people's attention spans are really small. So you want to really focus in on making sure that each photo is serving a purpose, telling something different.
One's me with my dog, and one's me going surfing or whatever I like to do in my free time.
Right, and it's good to get an objective
cool.
because if it's one's me with my adorable nieces and nephews, I'm not a single mom, but it does look like it in this photo. Maybe I
Yeah.
need to think about this message and make sure that something in there says my nieces and nephews. Like, because also keep in mind, whenever you're doing something online with the visual, people aren't very thorough about reading.
Yeah.
So the photo,
That's a good point.
your main impression that you're going to give to everybody is that first visual.
Yeah. Well, and I think especially like, obviously like not all dating apps are swipe right, swipe left, but like it is that quick when you get that first impression.
Yeah. And so I think that your main image, your first image, that you put into any kind of like, if it is a swipe account, you've got that one shot. So you do want that to be a really strong shot that's going to show. I would recommend your face.
Yes.
Like a lot, because that, like, as much as we do want to see we want to, you want to show a different aspect of yourself. You want to show like, if your body type and things like that, if you want to like, make sure that people know like, this is what I look like. Like for me, I'm like, I am not a busty lady. And so if somebody's really into busty ladies, they might not want to spend too much time on my profile.
But sometimes you see, and I'm glad you brought this up because I see a lot of like cleavage shots and I'm like, whoa, like that's intense.
I think that's where because it's sales. So I think that like, that's where people are trying a little too hard to sell themselves. Like there's the way because I have been hired to take photos for people for their dating profiles before. And I'm pretty selective about it, because what I'm very clear about is like, I'm not going to come in here and mislead anybody.
Yeah.
Like, it's really important that if we're going to do this, we do this in an incredibly like thought out and honest fashion.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to serve you well if you misrepresent yourself.
Yeah. This is not you looking 15 years younger or you looking 40 pounds thinner.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like you're not gonna like, you may increase your options, but it's like, your time is valuable. Like, I've always been like, put yourself out there who you truly are, and that the people that respond to that be the ones that you give your time to.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember when I was dating, thanks so much, Augustin, for joining. I remember when I was out there dating, I would like go on dates and meet people and they were like, yeah, again, like 40, 50 pounds heavier. And like, that's fine, but don't lie about it in your photo. Like, be who you are.
Right.
And people are going to like you. That was the bigger turnoff to me, was the lie, not the.
Yeah. Which I suppose is in some ways actually telling you a lot about the person too, though. So maybe there's a place for everything. But I guess the whole experience is information gathering. So like you said, if somebody's misrepresenting themselves, they're doing themselves a disservice. That's not good sales. You're not putting who you really are currently out there. And I think that is key too, is you don't want, like you've touched on, you don't want a picture from 15 years ago or one where you look 15 years younger. You want it to be really current.
Yeah.
And you want to make sure you're well lit.
Yeah. Tell us about that. Tell us about like lighting and colors and stuff like that.
So it's really relevant. Like, everybody says it, if we've heard through our lives, like, oh, this isn't my color, or this is my color. And that stuff actually really matters. And it matters in an environmental sense as much as like a physical, what you're wearing sense. So you can wear things that are going to change your skin tone. They're going to bring out your eyes. There's different colors that were going to affect the colors that are naturally in you differently. So it is relevant to maybe test it out a little bit. Like, I would recommend trying different things, like even if it really is holding different shirts up, looking at different backgrounds. That's really important. And then considering the lighting is a big deal too, because if you have really harsh lighting with strong shadows, you're not really gonna see like your face as nicely as something that's more soft.
Yeah. That's something I've noticed as I'm filming more videos, is everyone's like light from the front. And I'm like, okay, but it's better that way.
Yeah, and it's like, so I'm looking at you right now, and your light is directly from the front, whereas mine is coming in from the side more. So
Mm-hmm.
both types of light serve a different purpose. The light that comes in from the front is known to be kind of almost more flattening
Mm-hmm.
of an object, and light that comes in from the side gives it more three-dimensionality. So
Okay.
if you guys are looking at our faces right now, like you can see kind of more of like pieces of my face sticking out more
Mm-hmm.
because you can like because one side is essentially brighter, and if I turn just a little bit, now I'm catching like light on my cheek more. And so like there's different ways, very subtle ways that changing, I even can show you this, and then like can
Oh
go
yeah.
more fun.
Mm-hmm.
So there's different ways like to bring out like your face better, I guess, depending on the light. And then you want to avoid this.
Yeah, yeah. And what about like, natural light versus, I mean, especially if like somebody's taking a selfie at home right now, do you want to be more natural light? Do you want to be more, mood lighting? What does that look like?
Well, natural lighting that is bounced, so like not direct sunlight, but sunlight that hitting a wall and bouncing back on you when you're standing in the shade is going to be a lot more flattering than lighting that is really strong and directional and has I'm trying to think of like more layman's language to describe this.
Yeah.
It's not
Oh, we lost your sound,
shadows,
Kate.
sharp
We can't hear you.
shadows.
Oh, there we go. We
Oh,
lost your
with like
sound a little bit. It's better. It's better. It's back.
better. I can come in.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so like if you want to try and create softer shadows, you want to avoid really deep shadows. Like they'll also show up creases a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Not to like again, if you have wrinkles, embrace them as much as you can. Like be true to who you are, but you don't necessarily have to highlight it.
Yeah.
So you the stronger the light source, so the smaller the light source and the further away it is from you,
Mm-hmm.
the sharper and stronger your shadows are. The
Mm.
bigger the light source and the closer it is to you, the softer the lighting is. That's like why a cloudy sky things look so different. You don't really see the deep shadows across like the fields or where the trees are when it's a cloudy sky. Everything's just a little bit more even. And that's true
Mhm.
for portrait photography as well.
Yeah. Okay, great. What kinds of things do you see people doing wrong? Like what kind of messes do you see people making when they're when they're taking, in addition to not being true to themselves?
I think you've got to really be conscious of your props. Like
Mm-hmm.
you want to make sure that like you're not like cropping off parts of your face or you're not so far away in the frame people can't really see you. So
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
that it's really important to consider how much of you you're showing to the camera and focus on showing your face
Yeah.
because that if you did meet these people in person, like that's how they're going to recognize you. Like
Yeah.
you really need to be clear, like this is my face. Um, I think that's really important. One of the other things that I'm like, oh, I don't want to tell somebody not to because if that's who they are and they really enjoy it, I don't want to take that away. But like when you do really heavy contouring with your makeup,
Yes.
that can also be very misleading.
And it's funny because I wear a lot of makeup, but then I look at like, pictures of Kylie Jenner or whatever her name is, and I'm like, and she's beautiful, and I'm like, why do you have so much like intense makeup on? Like you look, there's something like it's like frighteningly fake. And again, I wear a lot of makeup, but it's like,
There's a
wow.
balance. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm lazy. I'm not wearing makeup, and I mean, I wouldn't necessarily go that route. Like, if I were taking a picture of myself right now, I would probably put something on, but mostly because I would think I would present myself a little differently in the photo with it on. I think I would just feel a little more confident. I'd stand a little straighter. I'd perform for the camera just a little bit more with a little more energy if I was feeling confident. So it's important to keep that in mind too.
But there's a balance, between like your natural self, like your schlubbiest, like whatever, crawled out of bed self, and like your like most way too airbrushed, right? Like, and it's interesting hearing you as a fashion photographer And as a professional photographer, talk about like, you don't need to look Photoshop perfect. In fact, that's actually like a little bit of a detraction from some
And
of
well,
this stuff.
even within my industry that I'm employed in, even in fashion photography, we're more and more and more moving away from that.
Yeah.
Like I remember working on like lingerie photo shoots, 7-8 years ago, and we were photoshopping everything.
Yeah.
And now today it's so different.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm much happier with the way the industry is going personally as a woman, like I get to see what these models look like in real life, and I'm like, these girls are stretched marks. These girls have normal bodies. A lot of the time they just stand in a different way.
Yeah.
And that's really amazing when you're around like the top models or whatever. And like they're beautiful, but so are like these plus size models. So are all these other people. So like they're even like half the time you're like, this whole team is beautiful. Everybody here is amazing, But it's like so much of what makes somebody look good in front of the photo is the way they hold themselves.
Yeah.
It's the energy they bring to it. It's in their eyes. It's in their comfort in front of it. So I would really recommend anybody taking these pictures, try and find that comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, practicing is not a bad idea. Like, just get in front of the camera and take a bunch of bad ones that you know are going to be bad.
Yeah.
So that you let go of that stigma that you have to take a perfect picture.
Yeah. Get rid of the bad. And also, like, you're going to have to take, just like you have to go through a ton of people to find, for most people, to find your partner, the person that you want to be with. You're going to have to take a lot of photos to find the 1 or 2 or 3, whatever, that you want to put up on your dating profile.
Right. Yeah. And I would always kind of, when I work with people, when I did like shoot dating profile pictures for them, we would do a really strong portrait that was important. And I would get pretty close to their face. Like, I kind of want somebody seeing like the real you, like more like probably closer even than you would ever anticipate.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I think it's a really great way to be very raw and honest and vulnerable by being that, like letting the camera come that close to you and presenting that.
Yeah.
And then like, we also need a mix of images that I'm not taking that are from your life. Yeah. Like, are you somebody that loves sailing? Do you have pictures of you on that boat? Like, use each of these opportunities to put something in about you,
Yeah.
And you can double up and like be like, and I'm in a bathing suit because I'm confident in my body and I wanted to put the picture out there for the world too. Then great, do that,
Yeah.
But like, use each photo to tell more story, because it's really about telling your story.
Stick around for more of Kate Benson's tips on how to create a stunning dating profile photo.
Well, it's so funny because I follow Sonia Lerner Doozy on Facebook and Instagram and all this stuff and YouTube. And she talks about actually like the photos that she's taken at home and like not all dressed up and all perfect, but actually like her actual Instagram, like instant photos instead of the all airbrush, whatever photos, they actually got a lot more likes and they got a lot more followers than her, again, her like done up fancy schmancy photos. And I feel like that says a lot. But it's cool to hear you say that. So going into like, right, you talked about sailing, like what about fun, right? I feel like people don't necessarily always have fun in these photos. Like they take them really seriously. Can you tell us a little bit about having fun?
Yeah, well, I think that goes into the whole stigma where we all have a stigma that we have to present ourselves in a photo as our perfect self. Not a real self, And that's almost part of the reason why I'm like, I don't have makeup on. I'm wearing literally what I'm like, my hair is up in a bun. Like, this is real self. Like, it's okay to present your real self and to not be your
real self.
Like, because the real self of you is your perfect you, Like, it's flawed. It's probably got things you're working on, but it's something that's worth loving and embracing. Like, And so in these profile pictures, in this online dating world, that stigma of like trying to be the best or trying to be the one that gets the most attention it's hard to break that, but it's not about getting everybody's attention. It's about connecting. Ideally, this is about connecting with a person that you're going to really want to spend time with and you're going to want to see if you can have a relationship with. or you're going to want to, you know, have fun with, or whatever it is, but you're trying to find a person that connects with you, whoever you are, in a way that you guys can have some kind of interactions or experiences together that maybe does lead to marriage, like a relationship, or maybe it doesn't, but like whatever it is you're looking for, it's still going to be with you, you know? So it's very hard if you present yourself in a light that isn't who you really are, because there's this like, I've got to try and keep that up, you know? And eventually that guard is going to have to come down, and you're going to have to be genuine eventually, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
I think people see through it. They see through the bullshit, you know?
And if they're not, that's kind of weird too. Like, you kind of hope they would. Like, but I think that, like, you know, there's a balance. Like, maybe you don't want to present the worst side of you first. Like, maybe you have this wart on your foot that has been there forever. Maybe don't lead with that wart, you know? Like, you can leave that out. But, like, you still, like, don't be afraid of, like, just being, you know, a little bit more genuine and true. And you don't have to be, like, you don't have to overtry.
I did this interview with someone recently, and I was saying, like, your best version of your true self, right? Like, so not the version that you think other people want, not your shittiest, like, grungiest self, but the version of you that feels confident. Like, people see that. And I always say like, it's funny because I think in dating, confidence is like the sexiest thing to people, but it comes through in things like a photo. It comes through in everything that you make and everything you do.
It really, I think that it really does. And that being like, and even the thing is, because not everybody is genuinely that confident. Like, if you're being completely honest, like, confidence is something a lot of people, you know, work on and spend their lives working on. And with self-love and self-acceptance. So I feel like it's a really important thing if we can be vulnerable, like, in this. I think that it will help you find a person who accepts and loves the person that you are. Like, it's gonna help you connect with the right people faster if you take the risk of being vulnerable and putting who you really are out there.
Yeah, it's so true. Do you have any, well, actually, before we go into, like, any final do's and don'ts, I find personally that, like, selfies are kind of harder to do than, you know, maybe photos that other people take, where I can, like you said, like, sort of select one. Any, like, tips on taking a really good selfie? I know that that's not your thing, although you said to me recently that you've sort of, because you're in fashion photography and you guys were all quarantined because of COVID, you're having to take more pictures of, like, your family now, and I imagine yourself too, also because you've done a little bit of modeling. So I wonder if remember those days. So, but I wonder if you have any tips for us on, like, how do you take a good selfie? You know, it's a tough one.
It is. I don't spend too much time trying, because I try not to be on that side of the camera as much as I can, because and, like, you know, Viva said, like, when I was a kid, I did modeling, like, right out of college. It was how I tried to get on more photo shoots and learn more. I will promise you all, like, I am the most awkward person on that side of the camera. And so with COVID, it has been like, there have been times where there was no one else. And it was like, what am I going to do? The client needs the shot. And you're like, okay.
Deep breaths.
And granted, my gear is a little different, but I definitely have some sympathy for everybody that has to try to take selfies now a little bit more. So I will say, like, I personally, I would recommend just taking way more pictures than you intend to ever use. Like, and do everything you can think of, because you have to get past, like, you have to, like, shake off that original, like, I got to get this great picture. I've done everything right. Go. Because it's like, it's so awkward and you're not breathing. So you gotta keep breathing. You gotta let go. You gotta, like, tell yourself, I'm not even gonna look at this until I've taken 30 images. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even going to look. I'm just going to shoot 30 selfies. I'm not going to look at them. And then I'm going to go back after and see maybe what's working and what's not. And I'm going to let myself be goofy. I'm going to let myself blink. I'm going to take awkward smiles. I'm going to try just carve out more time than you think you need. And when you think you've got the shot, keep going. Just
Yeah.
take more.
Yeah.
Because that's when you're probably going to be the most relaxed. That's when you probably let your guard down the most. That's like after you've got that first shot that you're like, okay, I think I have a good one. Even when I'm doing that, I'll keep shooting. They always say take 5 more frames, what they say. And like, you want to keep going because the magic of that first shot can create like that relaxing that you do when you think you have it can
Mm-hmm.
give you something you never expected afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that would be my first advice.
I have this image of your sister Chrissy doing like karaoke and like taking selfies in my head now. Just because I feel like that would be like her happy place and like, you know, it'd be great. She would look fantastic. I mean, she doesn't need to, but for dating photos at least, but that would be amazing. Okay, so any final do's or don't, but it's her happy place. She would like, she's relaxed, right, when she's singing. So any final do's or don'ts for us about, you know, taking a great dating profile picture?
Yeah. So I think that main image, just be really aware and try. Take lots of tests. Take it in different lights. Take it in different color shirts. Take it in different backgrounds. Don't be afraid to like put something on and be like, that doesn't feel right or doesn't look right. Like if you need to change a lipstick, change it. Try it without. Try it with. Find what makes you feel the most comfortable. Like that's the most important thing. And sometimes taking a photo in itself is so uncomfortable that you just have to take enough photos that you stop caring about that part.
Yeah. I think that's a really important point. There's something with dating that's like, there's something about like not caring anymore in some ways that like helps you actually land someone. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions or anything that you guys want to ask Kate about, you know, dating? We got a lot of good feedback. Everybody's loving your advice and discussion. Got a lot of waves and a lot of hearts. Thanks everybody for joining. All right, this was wonderful. Thank you so much. So where can people who are interested find you and find out more about you?
My website,
probably.
I would say Instagram or Facebook. Facebook, you'll never find me. Like, and Instagram is unfortunately something I don't interact with very much anymore. I think when I have a team again, when we're not in COVID, that'll pick back up. But like, when it's just me and we're isolating, not so much. So probably just my website, which is just my name, katebenson.com, and email studio@katebenson.com.
I thought you were katebensonphotography.com.
No,
oh my goodness, you changed it.
No, that's a different Kate Benson.
Oh.
Yeah, there's always been 2 Kate Bensons who are photographers. There's me, katebenson.com, and then katebensonphotography.com is a photographer who shoots weddings and family portraiture in Utah.
Oh, right. I think I looked on her profile one time. And so we're at Bet Me a Date on Instagram. On TikTok, we're at Bet Me a Date. I believe we're at DateBet on Twitter. And you can find us on YouTube. Our channel is Bet Me a Date. And so we're trying to, apparently, Kate, you gotta love you. And if you have any feedback for us, we're gonna post this video on our YouTube channel on Bet Me a Date. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining. Thank you so much, Kate. This was fantastic. I really appreciate it. It's so good to see your beautiful face. I miss you.
I miss you too. Thanks for asking me to talk, and hi.
I know, hi to everyone. All right, lots of love to you. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Join us on betmeadate.com to meet all of your dating goals. Like, subscribe, and check out more of our content on overcoming your dating challenges on YouTube from Bet Me a Date.